Hello, and welcome to We Play Everywhere's YouTube channel. I'm Anna K. Morris, your Chief of Sparkle, and I'm beyond excited to have Kim Syma from Revolution Studio and Jason Wimberly from everywhere, right? Right now you're in Texas. You'll be in Texas and LA tomorrow. You were telling me your busy schedule, and we're super excited to have you guys because today we're going to play with fitness. And, we have 13 areas of life that we look at. And every Monday, people get a video addressing one of those 13 areas. And fitness, you guys have just made not only into an incredible friendship, you've created a friendship out of your passion for fitness, but then you've also gone on to create careers out of it and really a lifestyle that you love. No matter what I want people to know is no matter where you are with fitness, this video is going to make a difference for you. So keep watching. And Kim, let's throw it over to you to tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you play with fitness.
So my name is Kim Syma. I am the co-owner of Revolution Studio. I co-own the business with my husband, Mitch, and together we created Revolution almost 3 years ago. Revolution Studio is Houston's ultimate boutique indoor cycling and yoga studio. So we're really excited that we specialize in two incredible areas of fitness that are beautiful blends and complements to each other. And we play with it because we make it fun. A lot of people unfortunately view fitness as like a chore or something they have to check off their list.
Yeah.
And I think is making a difference at Revolution in the lives of our community is, and the way we do that is we forge community. We are all about music and rhythm and tapping into emotions and just getting really real. And yes, it's about fitness, but it's about so much more than that if you open yourself up to that idea. And that's what can make it not only fun, but life-changing.
Yeah, well, I love that because what a perfect point, because I know your story of how you met Jason, but I'll let you guys share that because it really was like fitness that created your friendship.
Totally. It was fitness. It was also fate. I'm a big believer in everything happens the way it should as a reason, and Jason in my life is a perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. He always tells the story way better, and it gets more and more elaborate each time.
I love that.
So I'd love to turn it over and see where we've gotten at version 6.0. But yeah, we bonded. We have a love of fitness. Our personalities just mesh, and I think at our core is the belief in living the best life that we have, and sharing that belief and that vision with other people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm going to throw it over to Jason to have you share a little bit about yourself, and then how you and Kim met.
Yeah, so awesome. My name is Jason Wimberly. I'm the creator of a method called Wimberly. I'm Kim's brand ambassador, and I come out and work with her to develop the curriculum and train the staff. I'm also a master instructor for Equinox gyms throughout the country. So Kim and I met in LA. She was in Los Angeles, and I like to think that she was there searching for me, really, but she was there sort of scouting for talent and riding with different instructors, and just sort of they were in the preliminary stages of building this first studio in Sugar Land, which was our first one. Yeah. And she was in a few of my classes, I think 2 days in a row or something, like in the front row. And whenever someone's a really good rider, you notice them as an instructor. And so I was just like, what's going on here? Her and Mitchell were like right in my front row 2 days in a row. I think now the story is usually like, they were there 7 days in a row. So finally I went up and was like, so what's going on? And she said, well, actually, our friend Liz mentioned you. We're out here looking for instructors, the whole blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I was sort of like, I had just gone transitioning through different studios and wasn't really in the right mind frame at the time to even look at a new location or anything like that. But we started talking, and I said, well, just out of curiosity, where in Texas are you guys going to open? Because she was telling me how they're opening a place in Texas and all these things. And she was like, well, Sugar Land. Yeah. And I said, shut up. And she goes,
I think you actually said, shut the front door.
Yeah, shut the front door. And I was like, she goes, why? I said, my dad lives in Sugar Land. And not just like, literally Sugar, like a mile from our first studio.
Oh, wow.
So like not just Houston, not just Texas. He lives in.
I didn't know that part. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I have chills right now. That's crazy. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
crazy. And the thing is, my dad and I, we've been close, but when he moved to Texas for business, it was just one of those places I wouldn't come to often on my free time.
Right.
Sugar Land wasn't the high priority on my travel schedule, so I actually hadn't seen him in years.
Okay.
It's just because of travel, and I travel so much for work and have family all over the world, and so I was like, shut the front door, that's crazy. I actually did say that, I'm sure. And then a few months went by, and I had settled in with some other things I was working on, and I called Kim and was like, hey, do you remember me? And she's like, oh my God. She's like, I was going to come out and see you again if you were going to come here. Like, we love you, love you, love you. Will you come? And I was like, yes, I'll come.
Yeah.
And she wrote me a cute little handwritten card and sent me a plane ticket. And next thing you know, I was hanging shelves in her studio in Sugar Land. Literally.
We put him to work.
Yeah, that first trip. I was driving a pickup truck to IKEA and everything I could in between.
I love it. So the first trip out, you're like, okay, friend, let's do this.
Yeah. No, it was like we hadn't. I think we'd communicated maybe 1 or 2 times over, phone, text, and I pick him up. And within the first 10 minutes of him being in my car, he was already talking smack about the way I was driving and parking.
Well, first of all, she was a horrible parallel parker, so I just let her know, like, she tried to park. We actually, that was funny. We landed, and we had an appearance immediately at Lululemon.
Yeah. Okay.
So I landed at, let's say, I think 2, and we had to be there like 4. So I got my luggage, did my makeup in the car, and we had to be at Lululemon to ride in the window and do a appearance thing.
Yeah.
And so we're parking, and she's did a horrible job, and I was just like, I thought, are you going to be like that? It's a horrible parking job. And she goes, hi, nice to meet you.
We just met. And then it was like instant love.
Yeah. I think later
she punished you and made you go to IKEA and hang shelves. Yes?
Yeah. Well, I'm a, surprisingly, for as much of a diva as I am a team player. And I was raised by a very stringent family who taught me if you have time to be leaning, you have time to be cleaning. So I was doing everything I could first. If you have time to be leaning, you have time to be cleaning. So if you have time to rest, clean something.
I love that.
It's not joking. The first night he stayed at our house, we'd known each other about 6 hours. I walk into our kitchen and he's rearranging my flatware drawer because it was obviously in the wrong order. According. So, yeah.
Quick, but totally random question, but are you also a Virgo? Because that's an affliction that I have, and I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like a.
No, I'm a Leo, double Leo.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Controlling, have to have things my way.
Yeah.
Usually the right way.
It is the right way. Well, I'm a quadruple Virgo, and my fabulous drag queen friends in New York will say to me, yeah, if we ever want to know what's wrong with us, we just call a Virgo friend, and they'll tell it. Yeah, so that's what I was like. Yes, I love that. Well, so I love that because, so frequently people get really significant about fitness, and it's like this to-do list, and it's not fun. And what I love, Kim, you and I met in an unlikely circumstance, like not at all in the fitness world whatsoever. But when I first went to your spin studio in Sugar Land, it was like the best dance party I've ever been to, with no hangover and a much more reasonable bedtime, the night that I went to your spin class. And what I love is that it really is about like having a great time and tapping into yourself. And that's what I remember when Derek first went, he came home and he was like, oh my gosh, do you think they want a franchise? And I was like, Derek, we're not buying a spin studio. But that was his experience, and I'm sure that you find that all the time. And I'd love to know, like, your love affair with spin is so personal, and I'm sure for you as well, Jason, and what you've created. And I'd love to know, like, how y'all created that.
Well, I will say one thing. The interesting thing about both of us is that we were both writers well before we were teachers.
Yes.
And so we both fell in love with it very deeply and got so much out of it that then we wanted to give that to others.
Yeah.
My very first class 12 years ago, I was bawling, mascara all over my face on the bike, and the only one at the time, and everyone's just looking like, what is wrong with you? Like, I just love it so much. And I progressed to start taking like 2 and 3 classes a day for years. I would, in Manhattan, did this, and Kim had a similar introduction to it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I'd done cycling before, just as like a supplement because I didn't like to run, but I wanted cardio in my life. But it wasn't until I found this different style that really wove in fun and the mental, mind, body, spirit connection into a class where it changed my life. I had so much fun. I felt like I was at the club with my friends, yet I could get out of bed the next day and I didn't, regret life choices afterwards. I actually was improving my life, and it was just, it was like, wow, I can get those same feelings and that same, high really.
Yeah.
And be Beyonce in the dark, just on a bike, not on a banquette.
So you both fell in love with it as writers, and it sounds like maybe even in New York around the same time, because if you were, ish.
Yes.
I mean, I've been writing for a while, but I would say in mid 2006 is when I started writing this different style and really was like, whoa.
Yeah, I started in about 2003, so a few years earlier. But 2006 is when I actually got certified.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what how'd you first go? Because I'm thinking of like from the perspective of anybody watching this, right? Like we may have fellow instructors watching this, but we also could have people that have never clipped in, right? Yeah. You might not, if you're watching this, you might not even know what I mean. So what was it that had you take that first like leap of faith to something that was totally new? Back in those years, it really wasn't something that people knew about. So what were you looking for to have you go?
Go ahead.
For me, it was, I have always loved being active. And there was a part of me at a point in my life that felt like that was missing. There was a sense of camaraderie and community that I didn't have once I left college and left my, team sport there. So for me, it was like this kind of, I don't know, this searching for something. I wanted to feel better about myself physically. And I also wanted to, there was like it felt like at that moment there was maybe something kind of missing, or I knew there could be more. And so I was open to whatever came my way. My friends took me to bar classes. I went to the gym. I kind of tried almost everything. I tried yoga back then, and back then I didn't do yoga.
Right.
And so I was open. I think that's what it was. I was open.
That's
and I
what
was
it sounds like.
Yeah. And so this is just the thing that connected with me.
Yeah. So I love that because, anybody watching this, like this might not be their thing, but I think what's critical about what you just said is that like you were open and you were looking for not just activity, but it sounds like community as well.
100%.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time, like spin might not be your thing, and that won't hurt my feelings in any way. What I actually want you to do is find something that you love. So whether it is bar or kickboxing or rowing or walking your dog or meditating or doing yoga in your living room, like whatever it is that like lights you up, really search it out and take the time to find it. Because when you find it and you connect with it, then you build it for a lifetime. But if you're going to the gym because it's something you have to do, that's not sustainable and it's not fun. Yeah. So why spend an hour of your day doing something for the sake of doing it when it could be so much more than that if you just take the time to kind of look around and play and find something that really does resonate with you.
I love that. Yeah. How about for you, Jason?
Well, no, I think group fitness is a trainer and someone who's been athletic my whole life as well. It's a great way to keep you accountable. When I moved to New York, I have a background as a professional dancer, but I was in a totally different type of work. I was in high fashion and doing something very different. And for me, I knew I needed something that really kept me accountable, and showing up to a class, having people around there, having a group setting, it made me more accountable. And it was great for me because I did competitive sports my whole life as well. But there was no competition in group fitness, and in spin especially. The classes I was taking at the time were in dark rooms, and everyone was just so inspiring to each other. Like everyone was just there to support each other. And it was sort of crazy because, no one really knew what was going on, and we were all sort of like, it wasn't the thing it is now. It wasn't like branded the way it has been in the last few years. But there was that sense of community and team effort and riding together and without judgment. We would turn off the lights so there wasn't judgment. And I think that was one of the things for me as someone who came from such a long competitive background and team sports, all these things. All of a sudden, it was just about me having fun and getting my butt kicked and being there on time and making sure I did it.
Right.
So that was what really hooked me onto it and made it fun for me, is that I didn't have to compete with anyone else, even though I did. Leo. And then it was just like a way to let go. Like I could go into that room and cry if I needed to that day, and I could go and be a sweaty hot mess, and no one was going to worry about it because they were all just trying to get through it too. Right. But we got through it together.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So besides spin and working out, like what are some other things that you guys have tried, that you have loved, that maybe you haven't loved? In regards to fitness, like there's so many options out there. What are some other things that you guys have done? Dare I ask?
I mean, well, I've done everything. I'm definitely really, really active. I teach a bunch of different formats. I travel and teach all over the place. I still weight train. I've done CrossFit. I've literally probably tried everything, and I do that specifically because I feel that a well-rounded athlete needs to be able to step into any arena.
Yeah.
And to keep my body healthy and agile, I need to challenge it. You know, it always makes me chuckle a little bit when certain bodybuilder types or other athletes will challenge me, and they're like, well, you can't maybe lift this heavy. I'm like, actually, I can. And I can run a 6.5 minute mile and do 2 spin classes. And, you know, it's about, for me, it's always been about doing as many different things as I could. And not all of them have stuck with me, but I've done Muay Thai, I've done kickboxing, I did CrossFit for years before it was popular. I was in like the 13th first open box ever. Now there's over 4,000. So it's all about
Houston.
Yeah. I was at like one of the originals.
Wow, okay.
So for me, I've really tried everything, but I've been doing spin for 12, teaching it for over 10, and love it. Like, nothing else quite gives you that psychological release, that being in that room and clipping in and locking in and just letting go. Nothing else quite does the same thing. Plus, of any indoor activity, it's one of the top 2 best efficient calorie burning activities you can do. So that's an added benefit.
Yes. Along with being extremely low impact. So it is really great for people who've had knee injuries or maybe former runners. I love that. For me, I can spin a lot and not feel it in my body. Whereas there are other activities I've done or sometimes do where I actually feel it the next day. And I know that wouldn't be a sustainable modality for me.
Right.
I love, I mean, like Jason, like spin is the one that gets me. I love the sweat, the calorie burn, all of it. I find I work really hard and I love it. So it's perfect for me. I've done CrossFit. I've worked out with personal trainers. I actually love that. I love a one-on-one personal trainer. I love someone to push me, especially when you have the right connection with them. I love boxing. I love anything on the water. So stand-up paddleboarding, canoeing, kayaking. I love
synchronized swimming.
I love synchronized swimming.
It's so hard.
It's hard.
Positions underwater while you're treading with like a finger. I do it all the time, but it's really hard.
No, I was this competitive swimmer, and so anything in the water. But it's funny because my sister is living with us temporarily, and we were playing in the pool the other day. Hang on just a minute. Barney. Okay, the mailman's here, as is always the case in the YouTube shows. Every single time I'm like, what is it? Like I changed the times. It doesn't matter. It's like they can smell it, and they,
I think the point is that the mailman should eventually be in a YouTube video.
Yeah, I think so. He probably would be. He's a really nice guy. Hey Mitch, I see Mitch in the background. The second. Hi Mitch. It's a whole family affair. Why not? I love it. No, but it's funny. So my sister is living with us, and we've got a swimming pool. And we were in the pool the other day, and we're like, how did we stay in the pool for like 10 hours as kids? And the answer was synchronized swimming. And so it's like, okay, like let's try to figure out. Like it was so hard.
Yeah.
But that's actually a really good point. How those of us who were lucky enough to do any sort of sport or physical activity when we were younger did it for so long because we had so much fun in it, because it wasn't work. And I think the reason it ends up becoming work for so much of us is because we lose that fun aspect of it. Yeah. And I always sort of tell the story of like, when was the last time you came home with a bloody knee because you fell because you were doing something you've never done before? know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I was always bloody
Always.
knees and torn jeans, and I'd
Yep.
be out all day and
Yep.
exploring. And obviously, as we get older, we harden and we learn that things hurt, and we maybe don't take those risks anymore.
Right.
But that's also emotionally translates into our body. When we stop taking those risks and pushing our bodies and making it fun, that's when everything gets really stagnant and stale. So it's great that in spin or any other really fitness modality that you're into, you have the ability to push beyond and try something new. And with us, we both feel that in our spin rooms and in our classes, we can really push someone to a new place safely in a controlled environment and get them a little scared, get them a little bit like maybe they're going to really go somewhere new for the first time in a really long time without actually having to go anywhere.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons we both just love it so much, is that we can take you anywhere in the world without having to leave the room.
Yeah. You know, it's cute. I had taken several weeks off. I had a knee injury. Well, I don't even remember. I think I had a knee injury at the first of the year, so I wasn't going to spin class. And I was telling a friend that morning that I was about to go to a spin class later in the day, and I was really nervous, right? Because it had been months, and I was a regular, like, 5-6 day a week rider. And she said, well, they're stationary bikes, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, at least they're not going to leave you. I think of it every time because I'm like, I don't get it. And she was like, well, I mean, at least it's not like you're going to be the last one and get left in the dust. Like, it could be so much worse. And I was like, oh, you're right. Yeah.
I love that.
So that gave me a lot of freedom to come back to spin.
Yeah. You might leave your shoes clipped in on the bike.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll sadly start to wrap it up, but I want to know what's most exciting, each of you, about your life right now. So you can talk about fitness if you want to, but let's throw the script out. And not that we've ever used a script, by the way. I don't even think I used any of these questions. But I would love to know, like, where you are playing the most in your life right now. Like, what's really, really lighting you up?
Such a good question. I mean, I instantly have two very good answers. Also, even though
so
ladies first.
Yes.
I'll let you.
Keep thinking, Kim.
I'll give my two. I'll make them quick. I have an amazing new boyfriend that is has really changed my life in a lot of ways because he's actually taught me how to play a little bit, and that's something I actually have a really hard time doing.
Yeah.
In the sense that my life and my career is about making others feel good. And I'm a trainer and an instructor, and I do it 7 days a week. And I've worked this capacity for a very long time, and I've met someone who I love so much that has helped me slow down a little bit and take some time and just sort of, you know, not check my email for a day. Little things like that, which is really, I mean, I have 7 email accounts. So it's really hard for someone like me to detach sometimes and not be worried about everyone. So Aiden is his name, and he's given me that huge gift. So it's been really exciting.
And I feel like when you do like a radio shout out, like this one goes out to Aiden.
He's amazing and so supportive of everything I do, which is, you know, life-changing in itself. And then I have a new company that does fitness programs for at-risk and homeless LGBT youth.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's amazing.
It's actually a crazy story too, as most of my life. But when I was on a TV show in 2011 called MTV's Maid, I was a maid coach, 2 episodes. My job was to help a young teenage person become their dream. And as their maid coach, I would make them into it over 3 to 4 months' time.
Okay.
And during that time, she started calling me her fairy game mother. And it was this little thing that she would call me. And I actually, in 2011, 5 years ago, founded the company, registered it, did the whole thing, but then got wrapped up in everything else I was doing. Never actually did anything with it until this year. So about 6 months ago, I hired a team of trainers, and we work with the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, which is the largest youth housing center in the state of California. In Hollywood alone, we have 7,000 kids under 22 on the street every single night, homeless. And our 2 youth housing centers can take in anywhere about 400 to 450, I think, a night. So obviously they do what they can, but there's just not enough funding for a lot of these kids. And so what I did is I started just talking to different groups. There are tons of youth groups in Los Angeles that help these kids in a lot of different ways, but they're focused on a lot of the bigger, more pressing problems, like where to sleep, how to get them drug rehab, what to eat. And for me, what I did was, so I went to a lot of groups and I spoke to them. I did like little speeches or would do presentations and just get to know them a little bit before the program launched, to see how they reacted to me, to see what they talked about, to see what they felt. And looking back at my life, fitness and being athletic gave me such strength and empowerment at such a young age. I grew up in a very small country town in the Central California Valley, and I wanted to be a ballerina, which was like, what? like everyone was a cowboy and drove a pickup truck, and here I wanted to do ballet and be on the dance team. And while that was very much the first person to ever do that in my hometown, because I felt so physically strong in my capability, I felt mentally strong to handle any other challenges I had. So Fairy Gay Mother uses that philosophy, and we go into these centers, and I have a team, and you love it, we actually call it recess. And I have a loudspeaker, and we go in, and I have a giant bag of balls and frisbees and jump ropes and towels and Gatorade, and we go to the park and play. And, it's a struggle to even get them to want to do it because they've maybe not slept for the last 8 hours or haven't had a meal in longer. But I know that if I can get them outside for even an hour and sweat and get in the sun and have a little fun and feel good about themselves, it'll make all the things they're dealing with even easier. So Fairy Gay Mother now, we just started doing yoga. I don't know if I told you that. I have 2 yogis that do, on Fridays we go in and we do a yoga flow with the kids and intentional breathing and stuff like that. And for me, this is something I've wanted to do so long, and I'm working with an amazing organization already, and I have an amazing team of trainers, and I really see that being able to see it on a very deeper level on something that can change these people's lives way beyond their hour with me. This will be sort of my life's work, hopefully. So we just shot a big commercial. Jane Lynch is in it. Selma Blair will be in it. We'll be doing a big press release next month and asking for a little bit of support, because as of now, I'm funding the project myself. But that's Fairy Gay Mother and Aiden. And of course, I like this one a little bit.
So Kim, why don't you take us home, and what's going on in your life? What are you feeling the most playful with?
Well, speaking of yoga, I'm a recently certified 200-hour yoga instructor. And as of maybe 3 weeks ago now, I've taught for about 2 weeks. And so I think that's where I'm feeling most playful. It's something totally new for me. I've taught cycle for years. And while there are, a lot of fundamentals that cross over, it's so very, very new. And yoga is really exciting because you can play. It's like you get to create a flow and a sequence. And for me, I think I love yoga so much because it reminds me of a dance. And I always feel very, I would say, self-expressed when I'm dancing or moving to music. And that's what our yoga program is. And that's what this is for me. So I would say I'm feeling most playful in discovering what it is to teach yoga and what.
And she's good. I took a class last night.
I know. I took her first class. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
Thank you. That means a lot from both of you. So and I'm really excited to see what myself and the amazing team that we have at Revolution are, what we're going to create in this for yoga. I actually feel like we are up to something really exciting and different, and I'm looking forward to playing big in the yoga world and what that means for yoga for myself personally and for yoga here in Houston and potentially beyond.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, stay tuned with everything that you guys are up to. So thank you. I love you both. Thank you. And everybody watching, go out and play everywhere and do something. Here's the homework. The homework is do something that makes you sweat. Like that.
And might be scared of even.
Yeah, and be a little scared of.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean go out and eat some really hot and spicy salsa. I mean,
like stand outside because it is 100 degrees.
Or just stand outside. I mean, like move your body sweat. And that could mean having sex. So on that note, We'll talk about foreplay in the next show. Okay, bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
You.
Talk to you.
Tune in next week.